If you came back for part two of last week's episode, good move because you're about to walk away with some game changing insights. Frankly, if you did not watch last week's episode, do that and then come back to this one because I think it's going to make a little bit more sense and it's going to be a little bit more practical and insightful. And you will have the understanding of the case studies that I talked about last week. So, if you caught the last episode, you know that we kicked off with a juicy two-part episode all about what actually works when it comes to landing media features, podcast interviews, and PR opportunities. In part one, I shared the big picture view, why visibility matters, what the most successful entrepreneurs, many of my clients, are doing, and what they've done differently to land these opportunities. And today we're going deeper. I am breaking down a whole list of traits, qualities, and characteristics that I see in so many of my clients who are crushing it when it comes to PR and growing their businesses. The ones who are consistently getting featured, being asked to speak, they're showing up in all the right places, not because they're lucky or they're famous, but because they have a clear, confident, and strategic approach. Also, at the end of today's episode, I'm going to share some of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, like waiting until they feel ready or not feeling like they are worth being talked about. And I can tell you that there's nothing farther than the truth than that. Your story deserves to be heard. And it's going to move the needle in your business if done correctly. By the end of today's episode, you will walk away with a few quick, clear actions that you can take today to move closer to your next big media win. Whether you're just starting out in PR, you're dipping your toes into the world, or you've been pitching for a long time, but you feel like it's not landing, this episode is going to help you cut through the noise, refocus your efforts, and feel a whole lot more clear about what actually works. So grab a notebook, grab a coffee. Let's be real. I have reheated my coffee 3 different times, and we're going to dive into mindset, strategy, and the secret sauce behind visibility. I know a lot of people like to give 3 concrete things that you can take and implement right now and grow your business by 100x tomorrow. I have actually not prepared for this podcast interview in terms of script. And so I'm going to give you what I truly feel is the thing that moves people forward in their businesses. And some of these things are strategies, others are mindsets, others are just a sheer commitment to showing up and doing it messy. Doing it scared. If you recall last week, I talked about Laura Longmire. She is a fashion stylist who joined my group coaching program. And over the weekend, I got a text message from Laura kind of freaking out because she set up a Google alert, which I teach about all in my course. That way, anytime your name is mentioned online, you get an email about it. She got one of those and she clicked it to see that she had been quoted in Real Simple, which is a online publication that reaches 151 million readers every year. Her website was backlinked. She had an incredible quote that spoke to her expertise, and she was featured in the likes of people in her space who are perhaps a few chapters or levels ahead of her, but she was mentioned in the same space with them. That positioned her so perfectly. It built her credibility. It allowed her to reach more people. And again, her website was backlinked, which helped for SEO. Now, for a small business owner like Laura, that moment means so much more than just seeing her name on a screen. It is a result of hard fought wins and showing up and taking action. And that's what I want to talk a little bit more today. I want to articulate exactly what people like Laura are doing. I have had the great benefit of working with small business owners, business leaders, nonprofit organizations, corporations, big and small businesses for the last 15 years to help make sure that their story is being told, their mission is being achieved, and doing that through typically earned media opportunities. And I know PR seems very vague and mysterious, but I want to break that down for you. Candidly, I think visibility and PR have been democratized by digital media, by podcasts. So often I feel like we see people online or see people on stages and we see the result, we see the outcome, landing on stages, winning awards, products being sold, alignment in your mission and your vision and what that means for your community. But you have this question in your gut and in your head, how did they do that? How do you even get to be on that stage? I have thought or said that exact same thing, but I'm not on that stage. Let me cut through the reality. They put themselves out there. They made a decision to fight for the spotlight. They made a decision to be vulnerable. And what I want to do today is to really bundle all of those things into a tight little package where you can explore what that means and what it looks like. And so you can do it too. In no particular order, let's talk about some of the things that makes these people stand apart. One of the things that I think it comes down to is tenacity. What does that mean? Being tenacious means doing something resiliently. You're doing it even when you're faced with obstacles. You're getting beyond the no or not right now, and you're being consistent and persistent. If you are not tenacious when it comes to achieving your goals and running your business, I'm sorry to say that you're not going to make it very far. Being committed to the outcome is what it takes in business and in PR. On the other side of that spectrum, it requires you to be vulnerable. It is not easy getting on a stage, putting yourself out there, expressing your opinion, your expertise, especially in a crowded field when other people are doing the same thing. Maybe they have more followers. Maybe they have more letters or acronyms behind their name. Maybe they have won several awards, or maybe they just get more opportunities than you, and that makes you feel a certain type of way. Being willing to share your story, to show up even when it's messy and when it's not perfect. Sharing your story and sharing maybe the messy parts behind it is a vulnerable thing to do, but it allows your audience to connect with you and see themselves reflected in your story. It's not easy to share the loss or the win or the valley that you were in before you got to the peak of the mountain. But those parts of your journey transform how other people see you. They see your values in action. They get an understanding of your personality. They get to connect with you in a way that humanizes your brand. So my question to you is, are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to do it scared? I'll tell you what, I'm not going to encourage this necessarily, but if you go back and look at my very first podcast episode from January of this year, I'd say we've come a long way. That required immense vulnerability from me. And as someone who is hidden kind of virtually behind the scenes, behind my client success, doing this is not easy for me. I don't love the spotlight. I can very clearly see past the vanity metrics, but doing this in support of my broader goals of being able to impact more ambitious women, to show them that they can have a life where they don't have to sacrifice their career, nor do they have to sacrifice how they want to show up as a mom. That is my mission. That is why I am personally doing this, because I want to help other women achieve their dreams. And I also want to build a life for my family that I'm proud of as well. So join me in this journey of vulnerability, and let's do this together, because that's what it's going to require of you to be successful. Many of the clients that I talked about in part one, all of those individuals had come to me for support. And some of them came to me and said, I want you to do this for me. Please be my agency of record. Other people said, hey, I need direct access to you. I don't need you to do it, but I need you to tell me how I can grow my business through being more visible and leveraging these opportunities. And then other people said, I am not ready to hire or have a PR agency, but I still need these resources. Can I be part of your group coaching program? All of those people made an investment in themselves and their businesses, and I was simply the vehicle to help take them from where they were to where they want to be. And that requires outsourcing and investing in yourself, whether it's through coaching or consulting or hiring someone to do this for you who has the expertise to take you farther and take you farther faster. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that cannot happen is for you to not show up. No matter how many times you hire someone to do something, you are still required to show up. And that is especially true in my line of work. I can absolutely make connections and find opportunities and seek them out and bring the horse to water. But if you're not showing up and delivering with interviews with journalists, or providing that written quote through email, or joining that podcast interview, or simply not prioritizing those relationships with the media, I can't help you after that. It requires you to commit to showing up. And I don't mean just showing up and being there. I mean being professional, being reliable. If you're on an interview, you better be early. That also requires consistency. So not just showing up, but doing so consistently. I think these next two traits go hand in hand. My clients come to me with a long-term vision, not just for how they can get featured tomorrow, but how that opportunity is going to impact them 1, 5, 10, 20 years down the line. They have a long-term success and growth mindset, and they are willing to be patient for the results. So I'm talking about long-term priority and a long-term focus with the patience and knowing and understanding that those efforts are going to pay off. So this is a time to where you really need to be reflective in how you're viewing the concept of time. Are you willing to say, I'm going to invest in the future version of my business right now, and it's going to take a minute to get there. And maybe you'll have a faster return on investment when it comes to the ROI of your time, or you might have to continually build those relationships and work a little bit harder, a little bit longer to make those effects take hold. So I'll ask you, are you committed to success? Are you committed to building your brand? Are you in this for the long haul? My clients, Evan and Shannon, they have a 20-year vision for their clients. They want someone to come to their door for their services, and they want to be able to serve them so incredibly well that the next time that they need those services, they come right back to Evan and Shannon. One of the things that we vet and Evan and Shannon and their team do oh so well is that they are focused on the customer, their client, and the outcome. They're delivering upon their promise to the people that they're serving. And that matters. I know whenever we say PR and visibility, we're talking about our name and lights and being on Forbes and being on this top tier podcast and speaking on this stage. But if you are not serving your customers well, and if your customers do not have a positive rapport and brand loyalty with you, then your PR efforts are going to go south pretty quickly. The last two things that I want to talk about are probably the most important. Each and every one of these people and what is working for people right now is having a strategy to your efforts. There's a term that you probably hear me say a lot, and it's called spray and pray. What I mean by that is you might feel like if you can just reach 1,000 people with a press release, then your message is going to get out. So you're sending out this press release through an email blast and you're wishing and hoping that someone is going to publish it. Hope is not a strategy, my friends. Ensuring that the right message reaches the right people, it will always be a sound strategy. Even more than that, if you tie your strategy to a goal, you're already outpacing the majority of most people in business. I would honestly ask, what is your point of differentiation and how can you build that into your strategy? What sets you apart from your competitors or others in the space? And how can you leverage that? How can you tell that story? Having strategy also means you're being strategic about the timeline. Can you tie your efforts in business to what is happening in the world around you? Perhaps you have some sort of campaign or product launch, and your target is women over 30 or 35. Maybe consider launching that on Mother's Day or International Women's Day. How can you tie your efforts to what is happening in the world around you where people are already talking about your target demographic or something that would move the needle for your campaign? And that's going to require being ahead of the game. Things that will get you far when it comes to pitching for PR is making sure that your pitch is timely and relevant and newsworthy. Frankly, you need to be ahead of the game in your pitching to make that a success. So if you are pitching for Mother's Day and it is April right now, not happening unless you have a literal hope and a prayer and someone who is desperate. You're not going to find success. Timing matters. The time varies in that pitching window based on podcast, digital PR, printed publications, speaking opportunities, award seasons. Understanding the timeline and being able to work backwards is going to serve you well. Lastly, I think one of the strongest traits of people who are successful in PR is they allow for compounding effects of PR. They know the power of getting a number of PR mentions and press opportunities. Those compound. And at some point, you are going to make this shift from being proactive and pitching and seeking out opportunities. And then there are going to be times where that gauge flips and these opportunities start coming to you because people see what you're known for. They can tell that you are a reliable subject matter expert. You know what you're talking about and you're not faking it till you make it. My favorite part of the process is being able to go from being proactive and seeking out opportunities, and then clients start seeing, oh, these people are coming to me. This opportunity just came in. And candidly, sometimes they're PR opportunities. Other times they are partnerships, collaborations, affiliate programs. They take business to a completely different level, and that's the power of PR. Let's shift now into some mistakes that I see very often, and I will keep this list short because I don't want to focus on the negative too much, but I think these are really powerful. More often than not, I feel that people wait to pursue PR when they're ready, quote unquote, ready. And I fully believe that no matter what stage you are in business, there are PR opportunities in alignment no matter where you are, and they're available to you. If you wait until you're ready, you are behind the curve. If you wait until you're ready to do anything, typically you're behind the curve. Be vulnerable, show up, hire an expert at whatever level makes sense for your budget. Unfortunately, what I see in a lot of women is they don't feel like their story or their message or their expertise is worthy of the spotlight. Who wants to hear from little old me? Why does my story matter? Who wants to hear what I have to say? Ma'am, so many people, and it will transform the way people view you and connect with you. Oftentimes, again, people want to see themselves reflected in you. And by sharing your story, you create a more loyal audience. You create brand awareness. You allow people to see the human behind your brand. You are worthy. Your story is worthy. And I'll tell you, there are a community of women who would love nothing more than to pull up a chair at our table to help you climb this ladder. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but spray and pray is not a strategy. I would not take a single message and blast it to hundreds or dozens of people. Being able to dial in into the right audience, maybe the right outlet, the right reporter, the right writer, or the correct podcast host, and nurturing that opportunity in a way that is customized, personalized, and specific is going to be a way better strategy. Don't waste your time on pitching someone or something that is not going to move the needle in your business. Always tie your pitching efforts and strategies to a goal. So what can you do today to move your business forward while pursuing PR opportunities? I think it comes down to finding out who your target demographic is. And if you know that, where are they spending their time? Who are they listening to? What are they watching? What are they reading? What reporters or journalists or podcast hosts are writing about those things or talking about those things? How can you build a relationship with those people? That way, when you do pitch them, they've already seen that you've engaged with their content on social media. You've already connected with them on LinkedIn. You've left them a review on their podcast. I think this is actually a part two. Everything about PR and pitching yourself is going to come down to mutually beneficial opportunities to provide value, period. How can you provide value to the communities that podcast hosts have nurtured over the years, to the audience that a journalist has cultivated within that publication for a long period of time? How can you speak directly to a challenge that that reader is having through your solution, through your lens and perspective and in your voice? Specificity matters. Bringing value matters. And lastly, I would simply say, don't wait to plan long term for your brand. I know it's easy to get caught up in the day to day and the month to month and the year to year, but if you are in business for the long haul, you will never fall short of your goals by prioritizing your brand. Candidly, I think we could all make strides in our business by hiring an expert. And that, again, you can hire people at any budget. You can hire someone for 60 minutes. You can join a group coaching program that's more accessible. You can go all in and hire an agency or a consultant to do the work for you. Another really meaningful step you can take is as small as signing up for someone's newsletter who puts out helpful information, educational resources, or subscribing to their YouTube channel. Hey, you can subscribe to mine. Welcome. And again, outsourcing or hiring an expert can look different for every budget. You can hire someone who comes in and does the work for you, and they are either a consultant or an agency or a coach. Having that one-on-one access is certainly at your disposal. The investment would be higher, but the value of having someone step in and show you exactly what you need to do or do it will take you farther faster. But perhaps those more accessible ways, like a group coaching program or hiring someone for a 60 or a 90-minute intensive, there's so many different pathways to hiring people, outsourcing, and tapping into someone's expertise who can take the burden of that responsibility or the lack of clarity that you have and either embolden you to do things differently or do it for you. There's a beautiful world beyond delegation, and I am learning that myself. And if you are at all interested in working with me, I would be honored to work alongside you and take your business further faster. How can we do that? Please subscribe to the newsletter. All of these links are going to be provided in the show notes. Reach out to me and connect on Instagram or LinkedIn. Let's stay in touch that way. If you are ready to hire someone specifically for PR, you and I could work together either in a one-on-one capacity through one-on-one coaching. You can join the Visibility Accelerator with a whole community of women who are doing this alongside each other. We meet at the very least twice a month, and we have ongoing micro trainings, and you get access to the vault of information of our past recordings. And the community-led Telegram channel is a game changer. And lastly, if you are ready to hire a team or bring someone into your business to lead this effort for you, consider my PR agency, Akers & Co. I would love to have a deeper conversation about your goals, your mission, your legacy, and where you're going and how we can get you there faster. As always, I am so pumped that you have joined my little corner of the internet and would really love if you would subscribe to the channel. Again, sign up for the newsletter. I am rooting for you always, always. Building a business is not for the faint of heart. And frankly, if you're a mom or an ambitious woman, I'm especially excited to be in your community because this path is not an easy one. And the more that we can build community with each other and cheer each other on and root each other on and provide opportunities to each other, the better. I wish you well, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.